Hello, my name is Matthew, and for Nonfiction November and going on my theme of Roman history for the month, I've been reading The Fall and Decline of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon. And I've read a little bit more than 120 pages. I'm on chapter 7 of volume 1. And when I mentioned or announced that I was going to be reading this in conjunction with the Roman biographies that I was reading, or am currently reading, of Julius Caesar and Galba, um, several people just mentioned that there's no overlap in history. This is actually taking place much after the famous run of very well-known Caesars, and in fact runs all the way to the end of the Roman Empire. This translation actually focuses more on the latter half of the decline of the empire. And I'm not so sure how well I'll do talking about anything that I've read, and I'm not sure if I'll make a run of making videos throughout, but I thought I would start. It's difficult when you can't remember any names or places or facts or specific events of anything that you've read, and also not having a very good baseline knowledge of general Roman history, but reading it fresh. And there were a few things that were enlightening and had stuck with me. The Roman Empire, or the Roman Republic, had already stretched itself out through much of the known world, at least in the West. And so much of the turmoil and trouble came from internal struggles, or struggles to retain stability, and not so much the outer perimeter or the territory of the Roman Empire. That there was not much risk of any invading force toppling over the empire. It was going to come from within. And the two most noteworthy aspects of that, aside from leadership, the Caesars and the Senate, were just the rest of the population, which were the soldiers, the citizens, the slaves, which composed a not insignificant portion of the population, and also that the non-Romans, people that were living outside of Rome, that had been taken over throughout Italy, and then also up in Spain, what Spain was at the time, and Gaul and France. The soldiers were given these promises, amounts of money that they were going to be given after their tour, and land. And there were promises that you're going to come back to Italy and you're going to have plots of land that you'll be able to live on. There's only so much land in Italy, and there were people that were already living on the land. And so it's one of the things that came up in the Eclogues by Virgil, which I was reading. One of the few things that I was reading in this book that gave me some enjoyment in the Eclogues was just this shifting power struggle between soldiers being promised to have bits of land, people that were living there being unhappy about their security and property, and the slaves, which very different than slavery in the United States, that version of horrific slavery, these slaves had opportunity to either buy their freedom and just become a part of the population and work and live as they'd like, or through their behavior just being, I suppose, a useful part of society, and whoever owns them allowing their freedom. A lot of the slaves would even stay with the people that they stay with the people that owned them to begin with. The struggle that I read about was mostly that friction, setting aside all the horrors that came with just being a slave anyway. I don't know if I am capable of addressing that satisfactorily, but the people that are working and making a living and not being able to compete with slave labor, which was just free, and then people that wanted to be Roman citizens. And even this early on, there was already this ancient blood, these ancient family lines, and so there's already a tradition and heritage and this idea of keeping Rome as a special, exclusive place, apart, separate from the rest of the empire. You could be part of the Roman Empire, but not a Roman citizen. Those are some of the takeaways that I had so far. Very quickly, I realized that I'm reading a part of history that I know nothing about. This is already past Julius Caesar or Augustus or Nero or Claudius or any of them. We're getting towards I don't even know how to describe it. It's whatever happens after that. And so those are some of my thoughts on the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, just 7 chapters in. And I should say it's hugely enjoyable to read. I can just sit down and, even though I'm not retaining as much as I would like, I feel like I'm retaining more than I think that I am. And a large part of that is that it's just so easy to read. It's clear. It's beautiful. I can follow along, follow the logic, see these characters coming in and out of view through this lens that's moving around this world. So it's an incredible reading experience. It's vast. It's huge, and it's full of human characters. These distinct individuals that were living and striving and fighting and struggling and all the things that people do. So the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon. Just the very, very beginning. Let me know if you've read the whole thing or if you have any thoughts about anything that I had to say. So please leave a comment if you would like, and thank you for watching.